Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap Reviews. My name is Ash and it's my job to give you the perspective of a British middle-aged guy on a movie, a book or any other form of entertainment that we can chat about here. Today it is a book. It is World Chase Me Down, a debut book by the author Andrew Hilleman, and it is a story of an actual real-life character, a man called Pat Crow, who existed in the end of the cowboy western era. In fact, the crime for which he became infamous took place in 1900. Now, what Andrew Hilleman has done, he's taken the kernel of the story of an actual event and in fact the life of an individual, and by fictionalizing it and filling in the gaps and making it more exciting, he has brought that story to life for the modern day. Now, this book was released in 2017. It is by no means a new release, but it came to me through the recommendation of one of you guys. Somebody recommended a good story to me, Ed, in fact, and so I picked this one up from Amazon, thought I'd give it a go. I read it in the course of a week when I was away from home recently, and I found it to be a thoroughly entertaining, I would go as far as to say as rather compelling read. And I'll just give you a brief outline of the story without giving anything away if you want to read it. If you like Western, as I say, sort of cowboy era stories, this is going to be up your tree because it's set in Omaha. And Pat Crow, our protagonist, is a kind of ne'er-do-well. He actually tries a few things. He becomes a butcher. He has a small butcher's shop. And he discovers that there is quite a strong influence of organised crime in the Omaha of 1900. He's forced out of business, and there is a large meat packing plant, which the owner is a tycoon and multi-millionaire. And he decides, Pat and his friend decide that they're going to kidnap the son of this meat packing plant and hold him to ransom, which is exactly what they do. Now, Pat Crow, quite a cunning fellow. He's quite a thinking criminal. He's not just some blundering idiot. So it's a well thought out plan. His assistant, Billy, less so, but you know, they make a good team. They catch or they kidnap the young fellow, and indeed, true to right, they obtain $25,000 in gold from the millionaire father of this young fellow, and he gets released without being harmed in any way, shape or form. So it becomes quite a synonymous crime, right? Well known. He becomes, he is recognised during the course of the crime, so he is hunted down. And after, you know, this first sort of quarter of the book is the retelling of the story of the kidnapping. But the rest of the book is him just basically going on the run, pursued, tracked down by Pinkerton detectives and law enforcement. He's pursued across the country. He then flees to South Africa and gets involved in the Boer War, where he has a few scrapes. Then he comes back to America and again, exists as a criminal before eventually being caught. And then at the end, the last quarter of the book, it's a court case story where he is tried in court. And it's no big story, it's a historical fact, I'm not giving anything away, but he is found not guilty when clearly he is the criminal. And he sort of is painted in the picture of a modern day Robin Hood figure, taking from the rich as a poor man who's been hard done by. Now, the story is told in retrospect because in the first sort of chapter we meet him as an old man in his 70s, living in a doss house, a flop house, remembering his life. And so the story, the plot line of the story is a switch combination between him looking back and the modern day, looking back and the modern day, his modern day at that time. So it's a nice way of telling the story without it all being in a linear fashion. And it brings us, you know, up to the end where we see him in his dotage reliving the tales of his high moments of adventure. I found it really enjoyable. There's lots of action. There's lots of thoughtfulness about why he did the things he did. Makes us reacquaint ourselves of the era of the haves and have-nots in that part of the world, in America, in that period, where there are people, in poverty and those with great wealth, sharing the same town. I found it an interesting story from the social justice point of view, but also just from the plot. It's a really good, rambunctious storyline that just runs away with lots of adventure, from America to South Africa and so on. There's lots going on here. I'm going to give this 4 stars, or 4 bowler hats, as I say, out of 5, because it's one of the better books I've read so far this year, and it's an era which I rarely read about. So it was nice to immerse myself in Omaha in 1900, a part of history which is largely passed me by. Really enjoyable one, worth picking up, can be acquired for virtually no money, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll even leave a link to this Amazon link in the show notes below to aid you in your journey to reading it if you wish. Until the next time we meet, my dear friends, take care, and I'll see you soon.